Welcome to Will's World, your will overall, powered by Third Gen Physical Therapy and Sports Science Institute.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're listening. Thanks for listening, and we're back with another episode. Before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, follow us on all of our platforms. We're everywhere: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as Amazon Pods. So please follow, comment, and we'll definitely respond to your comments. And with that being said, let's hop into the episode. Today's episode is titled Micheal Beasley's Mind. I'm doing a little series on that because he's been trending a little bit lately, and I kind of like the things that he's being transparent about. And it's really about himself and kind of things he struggled with, doing his time in the league. And I think it's a good point to make, or to discuss rather. So today's episode is titled "My Stomach Was Growling and Tomorrow Came." I know a lot of people hear that title and probably goes over your head, but for me, it resonates because of the fact that sometimes you have problems or things are real, and the help that you're asking for never comes, and you have to kind of work your way through that, and that's a lonely place to be, but there's also a tough place to be. But sometimes it's for the temporary for you to learn a long term, how can I say this, a long term thing from it, in the sense of where it takes you the rest of your life. So today's episode, we're going to talk about three different pillars of this particular topic. We're going to talk about when you need to ask for help, but tomorrow comes, and then two, resenting the help once it shows up, and then last but not least, what now? Now, if we dive into the first part, when you need the help you ask for, but tomorrow still comes. In short, when you're actually in dire need and someone of some assistance of some kind, but it never materializes, then you're in a situation where you have to figure it out, and sometimes it doesn't look pretty. Sometimes the figuring out is crashing and burning and messing it up and trying again, and and getting to a place where it's very, very hard to not just sustain yourself, but very, very hard to figure out, how do I manage? I think when Bees was talking about, when he had that going on with him and he was at his low, there was a lot of things that probably was going through his mind. And as a result, man, I can only imagine what he felt like. Because the truth of the matter is, sorry guys, had a call come through. But the truth of the matter is that he made it to this point. And I'm pretty sure a lot of things that he learned back then, a lot of things he was given back then, or did not receive in the sense of a lesson. Um, he's grateful for the things that he did get, in the fact that he has freedom now. And but in that moment, it's not free. It's torture. It's probably one of the loneliest feelings you could possibly imagine. But for him to make it through that and get to this particular point, that's really dope. Because the one thing that I don't think he has for all the people during that time, is resentment, which leads into our next piece, which is resenting the help once it shows up. That is probably one of the most hunting things you could feel, resentment, because now you're like, where were you when I needed it? Don't come around talking now because I got out of it without your help. So why should I actually add you to the fold or add you back or forgive the fact that you were not there? And I think that's a tough thing to tell somebody to do, because honestly, you're entitled to feel the way you feel. I think the biggest thing we can take from that is I being able to identify the people who said no during that time, or the people who didn't check for you. But the great thing though is that he also said something else, which is that when you're up, no one should know when you're up, because when you're down, it doesn't matter. Like it just shouldn't be a difference. And I think that a lot of times we want to be celebrated. So as a result, when we're up, we want people to know we're up. But when we're down, we kind of go in, hiding. And for whatever reason, that's cool. Like it's no right or wrong approach to it. It's just something to think about. And in this case, I don't think that resenting the help once it shows up is right or wrong. So, but at the same time, at what point in time do we move forward? Because now we have to make a decision mentally about what's next. How do we get to the next space in our lives, especially when it still revolves around a thing that we needed help with initially. Like in his case, he was playing basketball. He didn't have any type of money. He was broke. He had just made, Sports Center due to a crazy highlight, and hell, he was having to go eat checker fries, which is wild because it speaks to the reality. A lot of times, what we're not seeing people's actually greatest moment. We're seeing their worst moment, and we don't really recognize what we're seeing because we can see it from a perspective that says everything is great with them. When truth be told, it could be horrible. So now we have to lead ourselves to this thing of, what's real, what's not. I really think that when we consider a lot of things in life, there's a lot of monopoly being played. Certain things are purchased for a price for some, and for others, there's no price attached. Some people are living their best lives in front of us, and some of the people who are in front of us are living their worst lives. And I think it's all relative. I think what you have to really fall into that, and what you don't know, you have to be okay with. But we can't take everything at face value. And that leads us to the last pillar, which is what now? Whew. So many ways you can go with it. I think Bees in his particular mind, he went through a lot. So the what now for him was not even what now, it's just what's next. Like what's the next thing? And keep fighting, keep scratching, keep crawling, keep going, keep going, keep going. Failure here, issues there, lessons learned there, learn this, did this, do that different, rebound from that. Like that has to be a hell of a like place to be, and to not be able to overcome it. And then all of a sudden you see the light in the tunnel, you run towards the light, you're out the tunnel, and then you get to a place of clarity, and you're able to sit down and say, that's why it happened to me. That's the biggest thing from the conversations that I get from him, in the sense of what he's talking about and what's bothering him, is a really, really, really interesting thing, because he reflects on it and he takes accountability, and then he says things that make you realize that, wow, like we're really not out here without people who see us struggling, or people who can assist us, which then leans back to the thing of your community. What's your community? When you really look at your community of people, you have the right people around you. Like a lot of times, man, that sometimes we really are our community. Like, watch this. If you have a friend group, really, really be honest about your friend group. Within that friend group, tell me the people within the friend group that you have that are actually not valuable to you, but valuable for you. Meaning, do they add? Because we get up on our lives that it's no longer like just kicking in, chilling, and hanging out. There's a point in our lives where we have to create something, whether it's our rest of our lives, or legacy, or wealth, or stability, whatever that is. And sometimes people we actually think are valuable don't add any value for us, in the sense of helping us be able to get to that place, um, without any baggage, without any problems. So the fact that when you need the help you ask for and tomorrow comes, and the fact that when the help shows up, you can resent it, leads you to the question of what's now. That's a hell of a trip to take in life. But it happens. Sometimes it happens in a handful of years, sometimes it happens in 30, 40 years. But regardless, though, I think at the end of the day, if we can't learn anything from bees, is that our accountability and responsibility and our actual role we played into allowing that to occur, and then the role that we didn't play in it, and being able to learn from it and try to be better. I can respect his transparency. With that being said, man, I'm hoping that somebody was able to take something from this talk. And if you were, great. If you were not, hopefully somebody else can. And maybe we have an episode that is for you. And we really appreciate everybody who presses play. And with that being said, I hope you have a blessed one. I'll catch you in the next one.